Jenny Lauren Dowden for Conduit News. Today we have Jennifer Lancaster joining us. She's first chair of the Second Congressional District, here to talk about an important ordinance that recently passed at the Saline County Quorum Court. Hey, Jennifer.
Hi, Jenny. Thanks for having me.
Of course, we always love having you here on Conduit. An ordinance was passed Monday at the Saline County Quorum Court that shifts the power from the board to the quorum. Talk to us about this ordinance, how it came to be, and why it's so important.
Sure. So a little history might be helpful. So our Saline County Republican women, of which I'm the president, they found some pornographic material in the children's section of our local library. They brought that material to the attention of their quorum court members, their justices of the peace. And they immediately, after investigating themselves, they immediately turned around and passed a resolution asking the library staff to remove those books from the children's section and to put them in an area inaccessible to children. Mm-hmm. Well, the library basically refused. They said that there were no books in that section. Of course, we know otherwise. There are actually over 100 books with this kind of material in areas accessible to children. So there has been some back and forth, and that is when the quorum court then proposed this ordinance. Now, back in '78, there was an ordinance passed that gave the library board of Saline County full authority to not only hire and fire staff, but also to regulate their own salaries. They also had the ability to purchase property, to purchase books, to purchase and maintain the property that they had, etc., with no real oversight from our elected officials. That's quite unusual, which is my understanding. Typically, you have some oversight by the elected officials. So what this ordinance does is it shifts some of that authority back to our quorum court and county judge, and they will then provide oversight to how the funds are being used, how taxpayer funds are being used, I should say, and where this material is, and of course, who is working at our local library.
Talk to us then specifically. I think that there are a few other things that are factoring into this ordinance. Talk to us about what it actually includes.
Sure. So there are quite a few things. You can find this ordinance online. The ordinance, again, it gives the authority to hire and fire back to the quorum court. So they can choose who is working at the library. They can also set salaries, making sure, of course, that our funds are being used appropriately. The Saline County judge is going to provide oversight to the purchase of all supplies, all equipment, all property. So he can make sure that it is maintained and managed in an appropriate manner. Also, this ordinance is going to require that a third-party non-governmental audit be performed, which is necessary, and I think is going to bring some peace to the taxpayers of Saline County, because as we understand it through FOIA, the local library has more than $4 million just sitting in the bank. So there's a significant surplus. From my understanding, with the history of Saline County, when, of course, the library was established, there was a millage put at a certain percent, and it really has not been touched very often. Well, of course, Saline County has just exploded. The population has exploded, and that millage has not really changed to accurately reflect, of course, what it should be based on the current population of Saline County. So hopefully this oversight will provide some more clarity on how funds are being used. And from that, then the quorum court can make some wise decisions about what they need to do with funding going forward.
You know, when anyone was watching this leading up to the meeting Monday, and then now the aftermath, even the only thing that we really hear from those who maybe might be in opposition, that it's about books and book banning, and it's against free speech and all of this kind of stuff. And really, that wasn't the point of this ordinance. It's not here. And also, though, the groups are not here to ban books. The resolution that was passed, several weeks ago, those books were not banned, as you've mentioned, and other people have said all along. They're just simply moved to a different section. But yet this type of rhetoric continues to happen.
Right. And it of course, is inaccurate. They're just blatant falsehoods. At no point has anyone with Saline County Republican Women or Saline County Republican Committee, who have been at the forefront of this fight, has no point, at no point have any of them asked for a single book to be banned. That is something that the other side has just brought up. Of course, it's inflammatory and emotional language, and everybody can jump on that and feel like they're doing something. But it's a one-sided battle because nobody's on the other side of that. Nobody's wanting to ban the books. So a lot of us are just left there like wondering what they're talking about. This is really about decency. We just don't want inappropriate material being put in front of children. We do this, of course, as I mentioned in past interviews, we do this with movies, music, etc. We believe in the innocence of our children. They have it. They're just kids for such a short amount of time, and it is our responsibility to protect them. And so that's what we're trying to do. We just want this material moved. If a adult or guardian wants to provide that material, if they think their child is ready, I personally disagree, but it's at least the parent's choice. But that's also what this is about. It's bringing back the parent's choice, because when the material is just out there, then a child on a field trip, or maybe a mother who has multiple children, one of the children could be at one area of the library, could pick up this book and immediately be exposed to material that they don't need to be exposed to, and that parent doesn't want them exposed to.
Right.
So when you put that material behind a shelf, then you're allowing the parent to make the choice based on what their child's emotional needs and what they think is appropriate.
Saline County has been somewhat of a hotbed for all of these issues. If there are other counties in Arkansas who see what has been accomplished there with this ordinance and say, you know what, this is something that we may need to revisit, what would you suggest they do?
Well, of course, they can reach out to me. Jennifer Lancaster, again, president of Saline County Republican Women. I'm also the Second Congressional Chair, or I'm chair of the Second Congressional District, and I'll be happy to help them. There are other groups that have been taking up the charge in their counties. I know Craighead has already fought this battle, and there are other people who are looking into it. And I encourage every parent, every taxpayer. You don't have to be a parent. You're a taxpayer. Your money goes to funding those libraries. And when we talk about local control, there is no control more local than that of the individual. So if you see a book that is inappropriate, then it's actually your responsibility to go in and have that discussion and maybe challenge a book if appropriate. So,
thank you so much, Jennifer. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, is there anything else you want to add before we let you go?
No, I appreciate this time with you. I always enjoy it, Jenny.
We'll talk soon.
Okay.